Look at that girl, she doesn't belong here. The words sliced through the courtyard like a blade. Gasps rippled through the wealthy guests as a barefoot black teenager spun beside the billionaire's disabled daughter. What she did next would silence every voice of doubt and rewrite the meaning of dignity. The courtyard of the billionaire's estate glittered with chandeliers and polished stone, every corner screaming wealth. Men in tailored suits and women, draped in jewels, sipped wine and exchanged polite laughter. It was supposed to be another evening of opulence, another parade of power, but then the whispers began. Heads turned. Silence crept over the crowd dotted the center of it all. His daughter, his fragile child, who had lived her life in a wheelchair, was moving, not in hesitation, not in sorrow, but in rhythm. She was dancing. Her arms lifted, her laughter soared. Her eyes glowed with something he hadn't seen in years. Freedom. Beside her was the source of the whispers, a teenage girl. Her skin glistened in the fading sun. Her braids swayed with each movement, and her bare feet slapped against the stone like a heartbeat. She was not dressed in silk or lace. She was not a guest on the list. She had simply appeared. And yet, she moved with such grace, such fire, that even the chandelier seemed to dim in reverence. But then came the cutting voice. She doesn't belong here. It was muttered by a guest, yet loud enough to poison the air. Others nodded in agreement. Eyes narrowed. Some scoffed. The billionaire stood frozen. He had built his empire on walls of money, walls of power, walls that divided who was worthy and who was not. And here, in front of everyone, those walls were being shattered by a barefoot girl and a song that wasn't even playing. Who was she? Why was she here? Her story began far from marble courtyards. She was raised in a neighborhood where streetlights flickered and sidewalks cracked. Her mother worked long hours at 2 jobs, her hands worn from labor. There were no dance studios, no glittering stages. Just a patch of cracked concrete outside her apartment and a dream too stubborn to die every evening. While the world hurried past, she danced. She danced to the hum of passing cars, to the rhythm of footsteps, to the beat of her own heart. Her movements were sharp, bold, unapologetic. She had been told no all her life, too poor, too dark, too small. But every spin, every step, every twirl was her answer. Yes, I am here. Yes, I will rise. Now she stood in the most unlikely of places, guiding the billionaire's daughter not with pity, but with power. She lifted her hand and spun her wheelchair as if it were part of the choreography, not a burden. She bowed to her, not in weakness but in reverence, and in doing so, lifted the girl higher than she had ever been before. The crowd didn't know how to respond. Some looked away, clinging to their discomfort. Others whispered, unable to hide their prejudice. But slowly, very slowly, something began to change. The young dancer's courage was contagious. The billionaire's daughter let out a laugh that pierced through the silence, a sound so pure it felt like the first ray of sunlight after a storm. She raised her arms, triumphant, radiant, and free. The billionaire felt his chest tighten. His daughter had never been so alive. And yet, it had taken a stranger, someone the world dismissed, to show her that life could still be beautiful. Tears blurred his vision as the girl completed her dance. The courtyard, once filled with doubt, now pulsed with awe. The guests, those same critics who had whispered, rose to their feet. Not for him, not for wealth, but for her. He stepped forward, his voice breaking through the applause. Dignity is not measured by fortune or fame, he said softly, but by the love we give freely. Tonight I have witnessed more honor in a dance than in all my riches. The words sank deep. The crowd bowed their heads in respect. The barefoot girl had done what money never could. She had broken chains of pity, fear, and pride. Her next move had stunned them all. Not because it was flawless, but because it was fearless. And in that courtyard, beneath the glow of fading sunlight, a billionaire's daughter discovered joy. A young dancer discovered her purpose. And the world discovered that the strongest Walls can crumble with just one act of love. This story reminds us that respect cannot be bought, and true greatness is born in moments of courage and compassion. Silent strength changes lives. Where are you watching from? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more stories that reveal the unseen heroes among us.